Come on. Are you serious?
And then I saw him about to fall. I went to go over there. I grabbed him. I see. Stop.
Yeah, I understand. Best I can to understand.
Yeah, you can see, you can picture what happened when what was coming out of his chest, and
yeah,
y'all can visualize other stuff. I don't want to put down my mom right now, but I pushed my hand on there, trying to make it stop, and I grabbed his head and I looked in his eyes. I just saw his soul leave, and it took my soul too.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to ask you one last question. I've seen interviews with your husband, who I can hear in the side, by the way. I think he's there in the room with you. I saw an interview last night. Okay, someone else. Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
But I have seen interviews with your husband in the last 24 hours, and it was remarkable to me that I heard your husband say within hours of this that he forgave this other young man, and he got there so quickly. And I honestly don't know that I could. And I just want to see, and I don't know if there's a right or a wrong place to be, especially as quickly as this has happened. Megan, how do you feel on that front today?
I am not like their dad. I am so angry at that boy. It's just not fair. That's all I have.
I understand.
I'd like to say this. It's forgave, not forgotten, but I'm not at that point yet to forgive that kid for what he did to my brother. Because, 17 years, my best friend, just there in the blink of an eye, I lost him.
Wow. All right. That was last year when the murder initially occurred. Well, today, folks, we have a guilty verdict. First degree, the Collin County jury rejected the self-defense claim and the lesser manslaughter option after just 3 hours of deliberations. The verdict read late this afternoon. The case immediately has moved into the sentencing phase, and it's the same jury. Karmelo Anthony faces 5 to 99 years in prison, or potentially life, depending on how Texas law applies the enhancements. We're going to break it all down for you today. We're going to bring you all of what happened inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom today. Also analysis and reaction. Ladies, let's get into this. I want to get your opinion on this, Nicole. What do you think about the verdict? First degree murder.
They got it right. According to the law, they got it right. It met the standard for murder. This was not an accident. It was not two teenage boys fighting and struggling over a knife. It was intentional. It was unjustified and unprovoked murder.
All right. Shelley.
Yeah, I think according to Texas statutes, they got it right. I also thought initially it would be manslaughter because I thought at least some of the testimony that we've heard so far, I think it met that standard, but it met both. So they chose the murder, the higher standard. I think that's what they did. All around, it was just a heartbreaking day, period. Certainly the depth of the heartbreak goes to the Metcalf family. It was I don't even know if you call it a win. I think justice was served, don't get me wrong, but it's not a win in the sense of, we have two boys that are still alive and they're kind of battling out in court. It's not a win in that way, but yeah.
Yeah, same here. I honestly thought they were going to do manslaughter. I believe it met the standard of murder. I do believe that. But I thought because of him being young, no prior evidence of any type of I'm sorry,
prior bad
violence. Yeah, violence or anything.
The law,
right. I thought they were going to go with manslaughter. But again, as we said last week, the video, folks, when you have a video evidence of something like this, a stabbing, it is hard to get past that. It is very hard. We're going to get into it. Folks, as you come in, you know where you are. This is the right verdict. You've entered the right verdict, where three voices bring you one standard of justice. Folks, from viral trials to shocking verdicts, we're going to break down the facts, evidence, and legal drama in real time. If you love true crime and real-time courtroom reactions, you are in the right place. Folks, if you're watching this on Poppin' Politics, come on over to the Right Verdict stream. We're going to cut the stream in Poppin' Politics within the next 10 minutes. So please come on over to the stream for the Right Verdict and watch it on this channel. This is a new channel that we're trying to build here. Of course, you all know us from Poppin' Politics, but this is totally different. This is just the courtroom, just body cam, and we're going to dig in. So come on over to the Right Verdict and watch the rest of the show. So we gave our response to the verdict, but the court TV panel pretty much had a meltdown today over what occurred. Take a look here. This is clip 2. All right.
I mean, I'm questioning the jury. I've asked them, how did you reach your verdict? How did you reach it so quickly? What happened? It was a 4-inch knife. He used it one time. He was pushed. I'm not saying that it was right, but what are you doing? How did you get this verdict? I'd want to know. My whole identity as a defense attorney would be in question, right? I'm questioning my identity right now, and I have nothing to do with this case. How could you come back like that? I would be enraged. I'm enraged right now. This is very upsetting. And then on top of it, to compound it, this dumb judge didn't allow cameras in the courtroom. What was your wisdom? What were you thinking? How you put on a robe? Are you that much of an imbecile that you won't let cameras in the courtroom in a case like this? This is not a rape case. This is something different. This is something that's clearly the whole community is enraged, and you knew that before the trial started. So I mean, this is very upsetting. You can see the reaction. I mean.
All right, Nicole, what did you think of that exchange there? He talked about a lot of things. Of course, the verdict, and the fact that there were no cameras in the courtroom. What are your thoughts?
Listen, Judge Roach said from the very beginning that this would not be a circus. This was not going to be salacious. This was not going to be OJ in miniature, that this case was going to move forward. It was going to stand on Texas law, and he would not abide any foolishness. And what we saw from Judge Roach was exactly that. Now, addressing what he said as a defense attorney, there were many people who watched this case who had no idea what the defense strategy was for Karmelo Anthony, other than preserving objections and things that may help in an appellate kind of way, because he started off pretty strong, wanting to humanize him and not calling him Karmelo and calling him Mello and talking about his days in school. But somewhere along the line, the prosecution, the state's case, kind of shook him a little bit. And he stopped trying to make him human and was arguing these little tiny points. And again, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. The state has to prove guilt. That's what the state has to do. But this would have been wise for the defense if they would have called more witnesses that made him much more human, him doing good works, him doing something other than being a menace at this track meet. I don't think this jury would have been so moved that they would not have convicted him, but it would have given him a better chance at manslaughter. From what we knew, from what we read, what happened, the sketches that came out of this court case, what we saw was the state's case that was airtight. They put on the case. They even called the boyfriend of Karmelo's girlfriend, like the guy friend, not the boyfriend, but the guy friend, Mr. Para. They called him. The state called the defense's best witness during the center of their case and said, listen, this guy's not going to be a problem for us. We're going to call him during our case, and we're going to make sure that we point out all the problems in his testimony. It was a slam dunk from there. It was a slam dunk. All the defense could do was try to make it better, and they did not. They got what they got. And I hate to say it again, there's no reason to celebrate. You know, Austin is gone forever and ever. His twin is without his other half for the rest of his days. And Karmelo's life has taken a strong turn for some really horrific days and nights. So there's no reason for anyone to be actually happy. But I agree that justice was served. This defense attorney was absolutely wrong.
Yeah. You saw the court panel TV exchange. What is your thoughts there, Shelley?
Yeah, first of all, I was surprised that Court TV had that kind of a meltdown, just overall, because they are usually a little more moderate, if you will. So I was kind of surprised by that, number one. Number two, I do think, and I wanted cameras from the beginning. So I think most cases today, including federal court where there are no cameras, I think the public, particularly high profile cases like this, I think we are due to have cameras. And I'll tell you why. Not just to make a spectacle, or I don't think cameras automatically make it a spectacle or make it salacious. I think it allows us not just to have the written transcript, number one, not just to have secondhand reporting or that we're hearing from secondhand other people's notes and their perceptions. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but it allows us to have the actual sounds. We can use our senses as well. We can see what we see and hear what we see, so that we can have that as full of an experience, if you will, as we can, that can relay over to the public. So I disagree. I think cameras are warranted in 99.9% of cases in today's economy. So having said all of that, I mean, that's how I think about that. As far as the defense, I just think the defense was piss poor. Just from a legal standard, if you will, I think the defense was not prepared. When we had the reports of one of the witnesses that the defense didn't even speak to, did not have any witness prep, said we just spoke 2 minutes outside. You don't do that. I think right then and there, that is at least one. I don't know all the different rules for appealing, but I think that would be one, as far as not having the defense that you are ethically, again, and legally obligated to have. I think the defense was piss poor in their preparation, in their redress, and in their getting the testimony from the witnesses. I think that already right there is a number one factor that can be, I'm not saying it will be, not saying it might pass, but you certainly can appeal. The defendant, in this case, Karmelo Anthony, and his family can probably, I would best be sure that they can appeal on that.
All right. Well, what happened in court today? Okay. What happened when the verdict was delivered? Well, one, Karmelo Anthony broke down in tears. Also, Austin Metcalf's twin and his family became very emotional. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 3.
I just got some notes from our local reporter who is inside the courtroom. So when that guilty verdict was read, I'm told that Karmelo Anthony was crying. He was shaking. His defense attorney kept his arm around his shoulders the entire time. And also I'm told that Austin Metcalf's twin brother, Hunter, this was the first time he was inside the courtroom when that guilty verdict was read. I'm told it was really emotional from both sides after that murder verdict. And as for what's next, Will, now it's the sentencing phase. He is charged with murder, so he could face up to life in prison. The same exact juror, they're the ones who decide how long he remains behind bars. And that's what this sentencing phase sentencing phase is. That reporter inside the courtroom tells me that Karmelo Anthony's mother, she's already taken the stand. This is a direct quote. She said, quote, "He is my oldest, my firstborn, my baby. I love him very much." I'm told that she had mascara running down her face and asked the jury, quote, "Please have mercy on my son." And then the prosecutor sort of cross-examined her and said, "Isn't it true you could still have a relationship with your son while he's behind bars?" So this is sort of the next phase right now. The jury is going to decide how long he is behind bars for, and they're going to call some character witnesses, including his mom that you just heard from. And I'll step out of the way. I mean, outside the courtroom, we've been expecting this, Will, but about 100 Karmelo Anthony protesters. It erupted out here. At least one person was detained after they read that guilty verdict. And as you can see, it is all hands on deck when it comes to the sheriff's office. They prepared for this. There's been barriers out here and really tight security the last few days.
All right. Nicole, what are your thoughts to that? I mean, the emotional response from Karmelo Anthony. Another thing before you come in that I don't think was broadcast enough, and I think this was something that should have been spoken about, was Karmelo cut his hair. So you could see on the drawings of the courtroom that he was totally different looking. So this mugshot that we've seen all over social media with the long hair and things, he was very clean shaven, very low cut, which I suspect made him look even younger. What are your thoughts on all of that, Nicole?
Well, we talked about this on the last episode or the first episode about what imaging does to human beings, right? So you see if he still looked like he was 15 or 16, because even at 17, he looked really young, and he's got this very relaxed kind of schoolboy kind of look going. Now he's not that anymore. On the other side of this crime, that's not what you want him to look like if you're his defense attorney. You want him to be as clean cut as you can get him. You want him showered, shaved, high and tight. So he presents himself as not only as someone who may or may not have committed this horrible crime, he confessed, but you want him to be seen as someone who's learned a lesson, who's remorseful, who's turned the corner. Unfortunately, we didn't get any words from Karmelo. We didn't get any testimony from him. And the testimony his mother has given during the sentencing phase did not help. In fact, it made it worse. She opened the door wide open for the state to come in and say, but yeah, he is your firstborn, and we know you love your son no less than Mrs. Metcalf loved hers, but you can still have a relationship with your son. Austin's resting in his grave, and that coming out of that high emotional charge of delivering the guilty verdict and following it up with those remarks, it's going to be a wonder if he doesn't get on the higher end of 50 years plus. I get that she wanted to stand up for her baby, but again, when we talk about the effectiveness of defense counsel, she should have been prepared. There should have been what we call in politics a murder board. So, the running mascara set aside, tears set aside, which she should have said as a prepared statement in her mind. My son is ridiculously remorseful. He cries every day, every night for this young man he took. But let me tell you, the thing that I found most interesting is that they didn't call his daddy. They didn't call Karmelo's father to get up there and apologize on behalf of his family, to apologize on behalf of his son. That probably would have softened the blow a little bit. He's still going to get some major time because Austin is forever 17. And that family has lost huge. And Karmelo's still alive. I mean, he's got some pretty bad days and nights coming toward him, but he's very much still alive, and he very much has a chance at life, whether he's ever paroled or not. Notwithstanding, he can still go to college while he's in prison. He can still, study a trade. He can do all of these things. American prisons aren't just for punishment. For some people, they use it as a rehabilitation process. What I really, really liked, though, about seeing the people outside, although they were acting a damn fool, hopping around and acting bizarre, I love the police presence. And they weren't menacing. They were just there. And they're like, hey, if something pops, we got it. But we're not going to become a part of the story like we talk about all the time.
And we're going to get into the outside. Before we get into the outside of the courthouse, I want to get your thoughts, Shelley, on the interior, on the inside, with these reactions that we saw from Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf's family.
Yeah, number one, I don't I don't cast any aspersions on his mother. I mean, what do you expect? It's a mother. I mean, what do you expect? I didn't expect anything differently from her. Again, we're getting reports. Maybe she said he was sorry from what I read. Okay. She said he was he regretted it, things like that. I don't expect any more than basically being able to mop her up off that stand. That's what I expect as a mother, as a parent. I expect her to break down. No, nothing there. Again, back to the defense. They should have put on other witnesses or people to testify on his behalf during this phase, as well as many more witnesses during the trial. But again, I'm blaming the defense. They were not prepared. They did not prepare their witnesses. Certainly this whole defense, whatever their plan was, it just did not pan out, in my never to be humble opinion. I don't know where his father was. Someone put in the chat that he may be in another state with warrants. I don't know that. I don't know. But nevertheless, just like I would not expect anything differently other than a meltdown, if you will, so to speak, from Austin's family. I'm not going to put that burden, if you will. What I would have liked to have heard, who I would like to have heard from, was Karmelo himself. I think
you would have. Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have heard from him. I would have liked to have heard from him during the defense stage myself. Because we still don't know. We still don't know, as far as the reports that we have. So we still don't know why he brought the knife, what he was doing. We still don't know from his words. That's what I'm saying. We don't know that. That's all I'm saying. And I would like to have heard from him during this phase as well, to hear what he was saying, to maybe, if we had cameras, see his body language. Certainly actually hear the intonations in his voice if we had cameras and audio that would allow us to do that. So I don't put any other, I guess, I don't know the word for it, any other focus, if you will, pressure, if I'm using that word lightly, on his mom for doing and being what she was on that stand.
Yeah.
I would have hoped they would have prepared her better. And I think you're right there, Shelley. Having Karmelo on the stand, at least in this portion. Now, I understand why they didn't call him during the main part of the trial, because that would have been catastrophic. But in this portion, in the sentencing portion, I think it would have taken away from the sense that he doesn't have any remorse for what he's done. They said immediately following the announcement of the verdict that he sat with his eyes wide, his head down, and his mouth open, like he could not believe this was happening to him. And then it was when the bailiffs and everything came behind him, because in Texas, when they pronounce you guilty, you get the sterling silver handcuffs. They're not playing around. And that was the moment, I think, when reality sat in on him, on his mother, and on the Metcalfs. They said the Metcalfs sat there emotionless, doing their best not to show any emotions, right? But it got to a point where it was so heavy in the air, the judge actually took a break. Just took a break, give everybody a tenor to get back at what they needed to do to finish this off.
Yeah. Well, just to respond to a couple things. So the dad was in the courthouse. I know some people in the chat were, wondering where the dad was. So he has been present in the court this entire time, but he just has not testified. He has not testified in this guilt phase or the sentencing phase. Now, he, of course, as we know, he was given all types of public statements early on in press conferences. And then, he was at the bond hearing. But he did not mention, he was not brought to testify during this phase of the trial. I agree with both of you on the mom. I do blame the defense for not preparing her. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have made comments about she did not do him any justice in the sentencing. Generally, when you have a witness to speak on behalf of the accused, or the murderer in this case, for the sentencing, you talk about how he's changed. You talk about, hey, this happened. He did this, but since then he's very remorseful. He's very sorry about this. I've seen him very repenting about this. Things like that. And she didn't do that. She just said, she was worried about it's her baby, which it is, but that doesn't really sway the judge to say he needs a shorter sentence. So
not only not sway the judge, when you think about it from a practicality standpoint, I get that the emotion of it ran over you, hit you hard. I get that. So I'm not discounting that nurturing feeling that she feels towards her son. However, from a preparedness standpoint, the words I wouldn't want her to say in front of that jury is my baby, when we're all here about a dead teenager caused by your baby. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is talk about how sorry he is, all the things he's done. You know, I go back to a place where they had that first press conference, and I guess we'll get there. I'm just going to just preface it. When we start talking about that press conference, there was a moment that could have changed all of this during that press conference, and they let that moment go by. And this whole thing could have been resolved in a much better way had they not let that moment slide by them. So you guys stay tuned for this clip that's coming up.
All right, folks, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. We are a new channel here. This is The Right Verdict. We're actually streaming on Poppin' Politics and The Right Verdict right now. We are about to cut the stream on Poppin' Politics, so come on over to The Right Verdict. This next clip is insane. So we want to move on to the outside of the courthouse. All of the chaos that was going outside of the courthouse and the racial narrative that was being pushed in this case. Was it valid? We want to get into that. So we're going to cut the feed on Poppin' Politics. Folks, come on over here to @The Right Verdict so you can continue watching this with us, because we're about to really get into what happened outside of the courthouse. And we're going to dissect and analyze this idea of this narrative of race being part of this. All right, so let's talk about what outside. I mean, it was a crazy day in Texas, beautiful day weather-wise, but the nuts were out. Okay, let's see here.
All right, we have a couple of super chatters, I think.
Yeah.
So we have Tijuana. Thank you, Tijuana, for joining us. Good evening, ladies. Nicole, Shelly, and KJ. Thank you for joining us, Tijuana. We appreciate your super chat. We also have
R Payne.
Yes, okay. R Payne is not coming up. R Payne, thank you for joining us tonight for your $20. Karmelo will get life because there's a not so subtle movement afoot to continue seeding jails with slaves, using the exception in the 13th Amendment. Karmelo's youth makes him a prime choice for a life of free labor. Okay, R Payne, that's a different perspective, but we appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. And we have Job for 9. Thank you for your $5. This is a tragedy. A young man lost his life, and another will lose years of his life, all for poor decisions. So very sad. Yep. You are right. That's how we started off the show. But thank you all for your super chats. Everybody keep hitting that like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell for The Right Verdict. You are at the right place, and this is The Right Verdict. And we have a special show we're giving you tonight. Normally, we will air on Thursday evenings around 10.
All right, absolutely. So let's get into what was going on outside of the courthouse, because it was crazy. It was crazy. Take a look here.
Am I locked up or are we waiting?
We're waiting.
This was when, of course, when the verdict was first handed down.
We're not seeing the video play. It's just
it's
just still. It's not playing for us.
This is a still picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see here. Oh, sorry. Okay, here we go.
Is that what they saying? I don't know how true it is. It just God damn. God damn. That's it. That's it. They said murder. They said murder. They said murder. They said no manslaughter. They said murder. I thought it was manslaughter too. They said guilty of murder on Fox right now. They said guilty of murder. They saying guilty of murder.
I swear to God, I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired. That is sick. That is fucking sick. That is sick. That is sick. You went through the same shit.
All right. Shelly, this was a lot going on outside of the courthouse. People were really upset. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I had asked myself, is she a family member? I mean,
no,
was she?
No, she
okay,
is not.
because
Community member, yeah.
That if she were, that could explain her emotional reaction to that degree. Could. I'm just giving her the best, the best of the circumstances.
She's on here again. She's not a family member.
Okay. So let's see the second clip, I guess.
Oh, okay.
You said she's on here again. Okay.
No, she's not a family member. I don't know if I have a second clip of her.
No, I was actually being sarcastic. I was trying to give her if she were a family member, I could possibly see that, that reaction. But what I see here is, again, this overly emotional. Mm-hmm. And again, when I'm using that word, I'm not criticizing this is an emotional day. I could certainly understand the emotionality of the family, Karmelo's Anthony mom, parents, and certainly the Metcalf family. I can understand that. But this is performative to that degree. To me, it's performative.
Okay. Nicole, before I did find the other clip of her. So before you come on, let's take a look at the second clip of this community member here. All right. Let me see here. Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
What do you want us to do?
Yes.
What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for words. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Let me ask you this right now. I hear.
What do you want us to do?
So she's talking about the racial narrative. We can see she's pushing the idea that this was about race because Karmelo was black, because the jury, they removed the black jurors from the jury. They are blaming race. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you know, KJ, I want to answer her question. I want to give her an answer. What do we do? Well, let's start at the beginning. Raise your children. This is what you do. Raise your kids. If his father is not a part of his life, find a man to be a part of his life. And for God's sakes, Black America, please stop telling your children, if somebody puts their hands on you, kill them. Stop saying that. That look that Karmelo Anthony had on his face when the jury said that he was guilty of murder was the look of absolute disbelief. When they first arrested him, he couldn't believe he was getting arrested because he kept saying, well, he put his hands on me. Well, if somebody shoves you, you do not have the right to take their life. Please stop telling Black youth that. Because what's going to happen is we're going to keep putting them in pine boxes and they're going to keep becoming animals in cages, learning to be either better criminals or punks for the criminals who are better criminals than they are. Stop saying that. Stop allowing your sons to be overly emotional. This all could have been solved when they asked him to leave if he simply had left. There's no shame in walking away. I'll give you an example of 2 Black men who had an argument and settled it the right way. Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb. Y'all remember that. We talked about it on our sister channel, Pop and Politics.
Right.
Anton felt some kind of way. He felt like Corey had absolutely offended him. He was in his feelings. And you know what he did? He didn't call his security to come and shoot Corey. He didn't pull out a knife and try to kill Corey. He stood up like a man and said, step outside because you're going to catch these hands. Come catch this fade. We're going to get a fair one on. And you know what Corey did? Corey thought about it and said, you know how much money I'm worth? I don't fight in the street like regular folk. Both of these men were dragged by a certain subset of our Black community to a degree. But you know what both of these men have? to live to fight another day. They both still have their money. They both sleep next to the women of their choice. They both have careers that are flourishing. You have to teach your sons to live to fight another day. We have to stop living like our skin color is a get out of jail free card. It is not. Stop teaching your sons this foolishness. And then you won't have to ask, what do you tell your sons? You tell them to get an education, to work hard, to build a family. Don't run away from your responsibilities. Take accountability for your life. That's what you tell them. And by the way, get your ass up off of that hot ass cement falling out like this was your own child. Ridiculous.
It's crazy. It was performative, like you mentioned. People are doing too much.
She wanted to be
internet. Stop being so emotional as a community, honestly. I mean, this is ridiculous. It really was. It really was. And it doesn't stop there. You know, we have, as you guys remember, Dominique Alexander.
Ugh,
okay.
Lord.
He was the trashy representative of the family of the what's his name? Carmelo. Yeah. Of the Karmelo Anthony's family. He was front and center in the very beginning of this case. And then he kind of started to take a backstage to it because he was really making them look terrible. Well, He's back. Yes, he was. Well, he's back again. And of course, he's pushing the racial narrative. Here he is in clip 5.
I speak on behalf of myself, Minister Dominique Alexander.
Minister.
I speak on behalf of myself as president of the Next Generation Action Network. The Next Generation Action Network wanted to respect this process, to be able to make sure that nobody said that the Next Generation Action Network obstructed this process, interfered in this process. But what this process did is shown that Black lives do not matter in Collin County. It showed us that time and time in American history, it has shown us to remove emotions from yet the law. This trial showed that it put emotions over the law. After Trayvon Martin and so many countless names, it has shown us that Black life is not safe in Collin County. It showed us that they did not listen to.
I just gotta say this. I mean, this is the total opposite. A white boy got murdered here.
Exactly. He acted like Karmelo was dead. Let me tell you something. This man is looking for another check. Absolutely. He's talking about he's not going to be a part of the process, obstruct the process. You have nothing to do with this. Not anything. The family parted ways with the new Negro Network. They walked away from your foolishness. They're going to run out of money eventually. And when they run out of money, the grifters are going to go away and they're going to be left with the son locked up in prison. This is unconscionable behavior. Absolutely disgusting behavior on his part.
The law, it showed clearly that a judge interfered in this process. It showed very clearly that a Black boy was allowed, not one Black soul on a jury. An all white jury convicted him in 2 to 3 hours. We know that they did not prove their case. They are currently sentencing Karmelo Anthony, but we know that the Next Generation Action Network put the first $10,000 towards an appellate attorney. And we will fight Collin County like hell. I respected this process.
No, you didn't.
I allowed and called for peace in this process.
He allowed.
But Black America should be very upset about what went on today.
So, Shelley, should Black America be upset about what happened today?
No, in general, no, they should not. Number one, they should be upset with the likes of Dominique Alexander. Okay. That's what they should be upset about. He is the wrong person He's giving the wrong message. And obviously this, what is it? The Next Action, whatever network, they use or misuse the funds for the wrong defense. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that Karmelo Anthony, when I say the wrong defense, I'm talking about legally. They did not put up a good defense, and they used the likes of Dominique to spread their message, to coordinate everything. Wrong. Okay. That's number one. And as far as this racial politics, did it play a court inside or outside? I don't think it played one bit inside the courtroom. Now, he mentioned the jury. We talked about that last week. You can go and watch our show last week to see what we said about that. Now, but I do want to say this. Part of the message that Black people should be giving their children, talking about the talk, right? One big part of that is that this is what I'm thinking. It is no other person's or group's responsibility or fault that Black children, by and large, Black people, are largely viewed as or depicted as violent, unrestrained, and godless. That's on us, okay? And if by your twisted logic, you, Dominique Alexander types, if you believe and you want to continue perpetuating the idea that all white people are the devil or they're anti-Black, then let me give you a piece of advice. If you actually believe that, then you tell your children to don't mess up their country. I mean, if you believe that, tell them to stop doing these things in their country, because according to your logic, you're not going to be treated fairly. You're not going to get a fair trial. Well, then tell them to stop. Change their behavior at the earliest possibility and start teaching and reteaching and instilling in them a whole different value system according to the white people that you say are anti-Black, white supremacists, and racist. That's what you do to preserve in your mind Black people, Black boys, so they can continue living in the white man's land. That's what you do.
Yeah. So when this case initially started and was in the press, and bits and pieces were coming out, and I would speak to many of the people in my community, in the Black community, they were pushing so many lies. I mean, it was so many falsehoods about what actually occurred. And when you would sit there and say, well, no, that's not the case. Did you read the police report? It says this, and this. They didn't want to believe you. They wanted to believe the racial narrative. All right. And therein lies the problem within our community. We don't like data. We don't like facts. We don't like rules and procedures. And that is what is really killing us. A perfect point was him right there. He's talking about why they got rid of the Black jurors. Well, we know why they got rid of it. It's part of the process. The prosecutors used their peremptory strikes. Also, we talked about it last week, the Batson rule, okay? Where, arguing the 3 Black women were struck despite being similarly situated to a white female educator who stayed on the panel. That's what the defense said. But they have the Batson challenge. They can do it that way. But there were real reasons why the Black prospective jurors were removed. Some of them removed themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's not forget that. The Black man who said no, because I would not be able to fairly judge this case. Right. I would not be able to give this young man the time. And if you listen to what he was saying without saying, and that is, he's already admitted to stabbing this kid. It was never, this case, the first part of the case was never about, did he do it? Did he not do it? He admitted to it. He admitted to it on body camera. He admitted to it in writing. He admitted to it over and over again. When the police officer said on his body worn camera to dispatch, I have the alleged perpetrator with me. He says, I'm not alleged. I did it. So it was not about who done it. We know who did it. This was a chance to mitigate those circumstances and say he felt some kind of way by being asked to leave over 12 times from a place where he should not have been in the first place. And they said that the 5-inch, not 4-inch, but the 5-inch knife that he was carrying, the defense tried to spin that as a tool. Now, I don't know. He works at a grocery store. If it had been a box opener, maybe, but a knife? No, thank you. No, thank you, sir. No, thank you. So there were so many things that happened in this case that absolutely fly in the face of what Minister Dominique is saying happened. He refuses to hear the truth. What he'd rather do is have another hot summer with people having another reason to blow stuff up, to start fires and all that kind of thing. We got to grow up from that. Temper tantrums are not cute. It's not demure. We're not doing that anymore. This kid admitted to the crime, and now he's facing accountability. This is a moment for you to talk to your sons for sure. Because, honey, your skin color is no longer a get out of jail free card. You're going to have to get some act right.
Right. Yeah. And let's talk about how fast the jury came back. Oh, I'm sorry. We have some super chatters.
Before we do that, let's talk about, let's do our super chatters here. Hi, Jessica. Thanks for joining us tonight. I bet you the verdict would be after lunch. Mm-hmm. Pay up.
We did say that. We did say that.
Thank you, Jessica. The voice of reason, thank you for stopping by. Correct, Nicole. Force continuum is real. Mm-hmm. You cannot shoot someone who shoves you. There are levels to it. It's called basically it's called proportionality. Yes. Mm-hmm. Jessica, again, thank you. The tears mean nothing. I see what makes you cheer. All right, mm-hmm. Jessica. And I thought we had one more, but if we do, we'll get you next if I forgot. But thank you all for tonight stopping in here on this special broadcast of The Right Verdict. You are in the right place, so go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button and hit the notification bell because we have more coming up as the weeks go on.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yes, indeed. All right. Yeah, I was just going to quickly say the 3-hour verdict. I mean, they came back, relatively quickly. And I think it was because it was clear provocation. They saw the disproportionality within the deadly force that was used over a minor shove. Okay, so let's get into the murder versus manslaughter of this case. And so, Nicole, why did they choose murder instead of manslaughter? What are your thoughts there?
Well, because one, the use of deadly force, and Shelley talked about proportionality, right? If you're pushed, you can't shoot somebody in the face. Murder in Texas, there has to be intent to cause death or grave bodily harm to another person. So you're under intent. People have asked you to leave. You put your hand in your bag and you're telling them, you keep talking to me sideways. You cussing folk out. I got something in here for you. I got something in here for you. Honey, that's what we call provoking a fight. Mm-hmm. That's what we call provocation. That's provocation. That whether this was a white young man who said that, an Asian man, a Hispanic man, makes no difference. You were at that point not only looking for a fight, but saying you had something super special in that bag that was going to help you in said fight. Doesn't sound like, a 130-pound weakling scared to death because he was surrounded by two people who were asking him to leave an area where he did not belong. I mean, it smacks of he felt like this was his moment, like he was going to do his big one, and his big one has earned him a prison sentence. We have got to stop telling young men that, a push equals death. That's not, they could have threw some blows. And I'm sure all the people who were under the tent would have broke up the fight and said, hey, stop fighting. Go to where you belong. You go to where you belong. And everybody goes on with their life. But he had that weapon and it made him feel big. It made him feel, indestructible. He's not going to have that in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Shelley, why do you think the jury landed on murder over manslaughter?
I think at the very minimum, he did meet the criteria to be convicted on manslaughter for the recklessness of that. So in Texas, of course, you have to, with murder, there's intentionality and I forget the other, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, intentionality, as well as knowingly caused the death, and the self-defense was disproven. So the jury landed, again, legally on, as far as the legal instructions. I do want to say this. I'm also glad that the judge added the manslaughter charge to be considered because there was only one charge by the prosecution. I'm glad that the judge put that in there again to show, not just to show for the jury, but to show the public the gamut or the breadth of charges or that they could consider. So you can't say, the defense can't say, well, that wasn't added, or at least that may not be an appealable event because the charge was there to be considered. So I'm glad in that sense that the judge did. He said, these are your gamuts, or these are your ranges, if you will. And so the jury deliberated 3 hours. When they came back under 3 hours, I knew that it was going to be murder. Again, I thought initially it would be manslaughter. That would be the conviction. But this case was so heavy. I think the judge wanted to make sure that in as much as the judge could control that courtroom, in as much as the law would allow, he wanted to remove as much doubt, if you will, of racism, of emotional decisions one way or the other. He wanted to give legally, on paper, transcription coming through, on paper, the best case, if you will, for the jury to have so that it reduces the appealable stipulations.
Yeah. One thing I thought that kind of pushed it over into the murder column was the knife. The knife was sort of evidence of intent, and the witness testimony kind of backed it up. I mean, bringing and using a knife hidden in his bag, that he described as his secret, it showed preparation and knowledge that deadly force was possible. The video, eyewitnesses all supported no imminent deadly threat from an unarmed Austin Metcalf. There was no mob attack like people had rumored before. There was I had a guy, one of my friends told me, they jumped him. That's why he did. No, there were no further advances after the initial push. So as we said before, self-defense totally failed. All right. And then the fact that, again, as they mentioned, the verdict was brought back so fast. That showed you right there was clear evidence. And so the defense, again, the best shot they had was, self-defense, and the idea that they kept pushing the size disparity between Anthony, being smaller. And they're saying that, the warnings were ignored. That was another thing they tried to push. It didn't work because of the conflicting witness accounts. All right. And as you all mentioned, Anthony not testifying and the sneak attack framing from prosecutors, it just outweighed it. It outweighed everything. So let's go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to close up this segment. We were talking about the racial aspect and inside, outside. One of the things that I thought about was, again, and this may be going to more so to the Dominique, Alexander types. One of the things is that this, to me, part of this case, this jury came back so quickly, and some of you are not going to like what I'm going to say. I'm not trying to say it again. I'm trying to be really serious and again, honor, if you will, this particular case in the sense of the lives that are at stake and that are deceased now. Let me tell you this, Black people. In this day and age, your DEI status is no longer a protection. This goes back to what I was saying about telling your Black children, if you really believe that white people are the problem, your DEI status is no longer protection. Every ethnic group, including Black people, some Black people, every ethnic group they're no longer moved by being called racist, white supremacists, whatever other adjective or pejorative you want to. They're not. They're tired of our culture. 3 Black women here. They're tired of our culture by and large. Again, just running roughshod, the violence we commit amongst each other. They are tired of it, and they're not going to allow it. If we don't police ourselves, that same logic in the white man's country, they're going to start doing it for us. That's it. If we're in their country, again, this is what some of you believe. I believe I'm an American. But if you believe that you're in the white man's country, then guess what? The white man is going to start cleaning house. That's all I can say to you.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question to ask the people in the chat. Imagine, if you will, the races were reversed. If this had been a Black young man who was stabbed after telling a white young man to get from under their tent and telling him repeatedly to get from under the tent. Imagine, if you will, the roles were reversed. Could you imagine how different this would have been handled?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what the outside of that courthouse would have looked like? You wouldn't even be able to hear us speaking for the bottles popping and the people celebrating, the dancing in the streets. Race cannot play a factor in justice. There is a reason why Lady Liberty's eyes are covered. It's supposed to be neutral. Now, I'm not naive. There was a very long part of American history where race played a huge part in things. But as America has become a little bit more mature as a nation, it's playing less and less. But what we have to do as a culture is we have to adapt to the new situation that we're in. There may be many juries where there's not going to be a Black person on it. Black people don't vote like we need to, so you don't get in the jury pool. Or you dodge jury duty like it's the plague, like it's going to cost you something in order to serve. When we do that, we shrink the number, the prospect, the chance of Black people being on a jury. But can I tell you, had they selected me to be on this jury, the only reason we would have made it past lunch is because I wanted to eat lunch. He admitted to the crime, period.
Well, we have breaking news. So 16 minutes ago, the jury has reached a decision on sentencing for Karmelo Anthony. After approximately 2.5 hours of deliberating, the jury reached a decision. They have not handed it down yet. Apparently, it says here it's supposed to be out by 7:10, but we're past 7:10, right?
I know, Central Time.
Texas time. So it's like
7. It was almost 7:30, but so they just have
some time.
They're probably tying up some loose ends. The judge has to review it, the foreman, all that stuff.
Okay, so it's going to be, they're going to be announcing it momentarily then, right?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, well, it should be.
The next
unless the judge waits until tomorrow, unless the judge decides.
Well, they've said,
I don't think he's going to wait.
No, it looks like it is going to come out tonight. So we will keep you guys noted. We'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on.
Based on what Nicole just, I'm sorry, one more thing. I'm sorry, Katie. I know you're not going to be. Based on what Nicole just said, she gave you the scenario chat. Think about this: that if the ethnicities or the skin colors were reversed, and if the Black person was the one who was murdered now by a white person, what would that outside courtroom look like? Well, add this to your thinking. What if both defendants and the defendant and the victim, what if they both were Black? It probably would be no one out there protesting on either side.
There would have not been any, this would not be a viral case. It would not, out of all the cases that we've looked at to bring to you, and we said, okay, there's all of these, there's the Murdoch case that's coming up, and Karen Reed's case that's coming up. What would be the most viral case to start off this summer? And there was no doubt about this particular case. There was not even much discussion about which case. And it wasn't because of what happened, because again, this is not a whodunit. We don't have to review the evidence. We don't have to roll back the videotape. He confessed to the crime. The overreaching arc for this was the racial tension. It being in Texas, this being a kid from Louisiana, brought up in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is a beautiful place. Take nothing from it, but it's a rough place to grow up. It is definitely, not suburbia. So him moving into this new environment. We got something.
Right. Yeah. So there's video out now. The mother of 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony went live. She just went live. So let's see this. All right. Folks, if you're just coming in, the jury has come back with a decision on sentencing. They have announced that it will be, they will announce it at 7:10 Texas time. So it should be coming out any minute. We're going to bring it to you live. All right. Let me see here. I'm trying to. Why is this not? 1 second. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Sorry. Okay. I know it's wrong. Okay. Here we go. So this is Karmelo Anthony's mom is now speaking out about the case. Wow. Doesn't look like her, but we'll see. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear it?
Can't hear it. Mm-mm.
I'm okay. I just got worked up. I'm all right.
Oh, that don't look like his mother.
I know.
That doesn't look like his mother.
Mm-mm.
Anyways, I came here to cover a trial. And,
Yeah, she's not his mother.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna give y'all a quick update. We only have a little bit. So far there has been 3 witnesses.
Oh, this isn't his mom, so I don't know.
The first one.
She's a YouTuber.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. It said it was his mom. Okay. All right.
That's one way to get some clicks.
Yeah, it's got over 1 million views.
I bet it does.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right, folks, as you come in, hit that like button. This is The Right Verdict. This is a new show that we're putting on right now for you guys, a new channel, I should say, where you get 3 voices that bring you one standard of justice. Again, from viral trials to shocking verdicts, we break down the facts, evidence, and legal drama in real time. We're going to bring you the announcement of the sentencing. It should be coming up in just a moment. If you love true crime and real-time courtroom reactions, you're in the right place. What other trials, what other body cam, what other, criminal videos and things do you want us to cover? Sound off in the chat and let us know. We want to, bring you guys the stories, the trials, the information that you want to hear. So certainly let us know.
The sentence has been announced.
Okay.
7:30 p.m. Karmelo Anthony sentenced to 35 years. The jury sentenced Anthony to 35 years in prison. He'll be eligible for parole after half of the time is served. He faced anywhere from 5 to 99 years in prison.
All right. Your reaction, Shelly?
I think I posted, I don't know, in our chat, I think I said at least 25, I think I said. Mm-hmm. So not surprised at all. I think they sort of split the middle between the 5 and 99.
All right.
I think that's kind of low. I think at least from my estimation, 50 years plus would have been better, because Austin hadn't even got to the beginning part of his life yet. He was still in the foundational part of building up his life. He'll never be married. He'll never have children. He'll never have the love of his life. And, all of those things. He'll never see his twin have those things. It's so 35 years seems like a cop out. I don't know if it was because of the sudden passion instruction that they were given, and using that sudden passion instruction, if it mitigated that. But my goodness, I was hoping for more time for the life of Austin Metcalf. 35 years does not seem like enough.
Yeah. How old will he be when he gets out? If 17, he's
19
now.
Well, he's 19 now. So this round, I think he'll be turning 20 soon. So 20 plus what? 35. There you go.
Well, he'll, Depending
if he does all 35, he'll be about
55
years old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He'll do more than half because he'll be eligible at half. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to do more than half. He's going to do at the least 20 of those 35.
You know, I hope he does every day of it. I do. And if I were his twin, there would not be one parole hearing that I would miss. I would stand there and tell the parole board, there should be 2 of me. You should be asking me which one is which. But my twin was taken from me. So yeah, every parole hearing, I'd be there. Hell or high water. Every single parole hearing. 35 years is way too low for what it cost this family.
Wow.
No, he'll be in his mid-50s. Okay. He'll be in his mid-50s.
Right.
You know, on parole eligibility. So, I mean, it does. I think it sends a clear message that bringing a knife to a school event and meeting a shove with deadly force, yes, it has real consequences.
Thank you for joining us, Bayou Jim. Thank you for your $5. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for our maiden voyage channel here. Shelly is my spirit sister. I love her very spirited opinion while I sit here yelling at the TV right along with her.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that support, Bayou, and keep coming back. And we hope that we will keep bringing you some good cases, some good analysis, some different parts of all the cases as they play out. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. We also have Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. Carolyn became a YouTube member. She's one of our jurors now. Thank you, Carolyn, for your support. Thank you, everyone out there tonight for joining us, not only for this special broadcast, but also just joining our channel at The Right Verdict. Don't forget, we are here normally on Thursdays. That's our goal. But also you can find out more about our other channels, Just the Guys, Pop and Politics, and Christian Conservative. Go to www.metroconservativemedia.com and you can find out all the information there as well as purchasing your merchandise. And in the future, you got to keep coming back. We will be having merch for this site as well.
Absolutely. Very cool merch. We've got a tremendous logo. So we're very proud of all the things that we're doing here on the new channel. You know, and this again is labor of love because we love true crime. You know, if we weren't doing this, we'd be watching somebody else do this, right? So why not throw our hat in the ring and do something that we love and make sure that we get the information out.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, the chat's going crazy. My goodness.
Yeah. Folks, what do you guys think about this sentence? So breaking news, Karmelo Anthony has been sentenced to 35 years in prison. Let us know what you think. I mean, it is sort of a middle ground. He will be out so help me understand, ladies, if he gets parole, he comes out before 35 years. Is that right?
Right. He's eligible after, 15
17
years?
and a half.
17 and a half years. He's eligible. So the eligibility clock will just start after, let's just round it off to 18 years. Okay. Then they have to decide when he goes to parole, whatever that case may be, he still will be serving time while that's going on. If someone applies for parole, he may be denied parole. He may do the whole 35, but certainly after 35 years, he will be released. And at that time, he'll be about 50, 54, 55.
Okay, but if he doesn't, he's eligible for parole, and if he does get out, he'll be in his 30s or 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, most likely 40s. Yes.
I mean, it is. I mean, I guess you could see on another side, say, that it is sort of soft as when you look at it as a deterrent. Mm-hmm. So, and as you mentioned, Nicole, when you look at the permanency of the loss of life of Austin Metcalf, does this deter people? When you think about it. So I don't know. It's just a sad.
I think I understand what Nicole's saying. I do, because Austin is in his grave. I do think. Put it back. Go back to this again. These Dominique whatever his name is. Go back to these types in that framework. It could be used or seen as a deterrent if in the right context. If parents start teaching their children, no, murder is not an option. Okay, even killing is not the first option. Again, there's a difference legally between murder and killing. That's why I'm saying it that way. Killing should not be a first option. Okay. Murder should not be an option. But if you frame this correctly, parents, particularly if you believe your Black boys, you got to give them the talk. Well, just say that your life, all the opportunities that you could have had will end at 18, if you will, at 18 or 19, if you do these kinds of things. Certainly if you murder another person. So this could be used as a deterrent. It could be, in that sense, maybe some good will come out of this. Again, by no means, my heart goes out to Megan Metcalf and their family, but some good can come out of this. If only one quote unquote Black boy stops and thinks, no, I can't do this. Let me walk away. Maybe have those fisticuffs and still walk away, like Nicole gave with Corey and whatever his name is, Anton. Earlier. Yes. So some good in that light may be able to come from this. But if the Dominique Alexanders of the world are still allowed to roam free, if you will, then nothing's going to be salvaged.
Well, I want to ask, because someone in the chat said they believe they went easy on them so that Black mobs don't pillage and riot. You think that?
I don't know if the state of Texas is really concerned about Black people pillaging and rioting.
Okay.
You know, they've got tremendous policing. It's not like living in a blue state where they're going to stand around and watch them pillage and riot. They don't do it that way in the Deep South. They never have, and they're not about to start. I get what everybody's saying about you know, him being rehabilitated and, you know, using it as a deterrent. But, you know, one of the things that I think we often lose sight of is that this is supposed to be justice for the victim, not for the criminal. So you mean to tell me a life of a young American man is only worth 35 years? At 17, he had not yet got to any of the good parts of life. None of it. None of it. And what makes it even harder is that his twin was there by his side as the blood pumped out of his chest. The last thing he saw was his twin. If that doesn't tug at your heartstrings, sudden passion be damned. Austin Metcalf's life was worth more than 35 years, worth well more than 35 years. And if this were a young Black man killed by a white boy, let me tell you something. The streets would run with blood tonight. People would be on fire. We have to stop looking at things that way. This young man's life had value, and it was much more than 35 years. Much, much more.
All right. Yeah. When you say it like that, I gotta agree. I gotta agree with you, Nicole. All right, folks. Well, we'll be back on Thursday this week, Thursday at 10 p.m. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to The Right Verdict. Share this broadcast, share it in a DM, share it on your timeline in a text message, and subscribe. We want to grow this channel, folks. If you love true crime, if you love talking about the viral crime stories, body cams, things like that, you're in the right place. All right. So we'll see you on Thursday night. Any final thoughts, ladies? Yeah.
Well, Thursday, we're going to be picking a new case. So we need y'all here. We're going to need your help. We're going to be doing some special things on Thursday to kind of get ourselves up and running. You know, the hard thing with these kind of cases is that on the other side of the sentencing, on the other side of the verdict, there is this emotional roller coaster that you go up, 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 and then it drops you down and your adrenaline is gone. But listen, to God be the glory. We're going to pray for both of these families. We're going to pray hard for both of these families, especially the family of Austin Metcalf. And hope that God brings healing and peace beyond all understanding for them.
All right. That does it for us tonight. We'll see you all on Thursday. Have a good night.